So Melbourne Cup 2022, I'm going to have a look at each of the horses and compare them to some historical stats and systems that people have put up so that we can see who wins. Now, there's a bit of info at the beginning and then I'll go through each horse, and then right at the end I'll throw together a couple of tables with some ratings and finally my selections to win the Melbourne Cup. So you can jump forward if you want, but there's a bit of info at the beginning you may be interested in. So the first thing that I generally look at is a bit of a system or historical stats which have come out of one of the forums in Australia around racing, and they've looked at quite a few of the stats for Melbourne Cup winners. Now, I've got them on the screen here. So Melbourne Cup winners generally have been 7-year-old or younger. They have carried less than 57 kilograms. They're normally not a mare, so the exception here was Maccabi Diva winning 3 times. But generally it isn't a mare that can compete at this level over this distance. The winners usually are forecasted starting price of $21 or less, and that's not unusual. We would expect that the better horses have the lower starting price. Interestingly, they also had last start odds that was $16 or less, so they're obviously horses which the public follows and bets on, and even if they didn't perform too well in their last race, the odds suggest that they are a horse that should be followed. The winners have carried less weight in this start than their last run. Now, that is generally because this is a longer run and there are quite a few horses that are at lower weights in this race compared to their previous races. What else have we got here? Winners have recent experience in a large field. So being in a large field, it's a lot more testing than a small field, and there's a bit more bumping. Obviously, the Melbourne Cup has 24 horses, so if horses are uncomfortable in large fields, they're not going to do well. So having that experience does help them. The winners have also won a black type, so I looked at Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3 races, and the winners usually have less than 6 wins, and I think this is part of they're still up and coming and improving, and 3,200 meters is not a distance that is raced often in Australia, so the horses that are going to win at this distance are not racing that distance very often. Another very successful method that is promoted by Neil Yardley from Bet Selector, and it has tipped 11 of the last 14 winners of the Melbourne Cup, is a set of rules that essentially follows that the horse must have already had a win, so a win percentage of 1% or higher. The winner must be aged between 4 years old and 7 years old, inclusive, so 4 to 7. The horse must have a place percentage above 40%, so it's getting in the money very, very often. The horse must have run in the last 3 to 17 days, so this means that they've got some recent form. And the horse must have finished in the top 4. Finally, he suggests that you could reduce the number of horses in this list by only looking at those with a starting price at or below $51. So that just means you're getting horses that the public also thinks will win. Now, if you are interested in Neil's Bet Selector software, you can check out Capital Info. I've put the link at the bottom of the slide. So I'm going to have a look at each horse now and looking at those statistics and those rules that we just went through and see who might win. If you don't want to hear about every horse, just jump forward till you get to the table that has all of the figures on it at once. So Arapaho is the first horse here. Now he's got odds of 101, so it doesn't look like he's going to be a contender. But he does have some good ratings at around 58 and 59. I've used two different set of ratings. One looks at their longer term chances, and one of them looks at their short term form. Career starts, he's looking pretty good with 6 wins from 26. Now, if we look at the positives from that list of statistics that we had that I went through at the beginning, it is carrying 5 kilograms less, which is a fair bit to be carrying less. It is a Group 3 winner. It is running well in that it was only 1.8 lengths behind the winner last start, and it is a 5-year-old gelding. Now, it's only carrying 52.5, which is going to help, especially if we're on a soft or heavy track. And its last start odds were $9.50. Kamara is $34. Now, its ratings are fairly poor, down at 49 and 54, which suggests it will not be in the top 10 at all in this race. Now, it has won 4 wins from 17 starts, which is fairly good. But if we look at the positives, it is carrying 7 kilograms less, which is a massive amount to be carrying less. Its last run was in a very large field. It has run first in a Group 2 and a Group 3. The 4 wins from 17 starts means it is under the 6 wins that we were looking for. And it's a 5-year-old gelding, and it is weighted still at 55 kilos in this race. So the last race it was running at 62 kilos. So it's still not at the bottom of the weights in here, which may be still a bit too much weight for it to go on to win this race. So Dashy and Sweet Junior, again, is a $51 chance, so it's a bit of a long shot. Its ratings have come in at 56 and 56. Now, I'm expecting that the ratings will need to be around a 58 or higher for it to place or win. So it would need to improve significantly to run those ratings. Now, it has won 7 out of 21, which is a significant win percentage, but it seems that when it doesn't win, it doesn't place either. So let's have a look at the positives. It is weighted 4 kilograms under last start. It does have experience in large fields, and it is a Group 2 winner. It was close in its last start in under 3 lengths, and as a 5-year-old gelding, it's kind of right in that middle age range where it fits the systems. Now, it is only carrying 53 kilos, so that's getting down in the weights and will make it easier on the soft and heavy ground. And the last start odds at $7 suggests that people think this horse is a good horse to follow for most races, but is it outclassed in this race? I think it will be. Now, Divial Legend is our favourite in the race, and it's currently priced at $3.80, which is definitely under the odds. And its ratings are actually surprisingly low. It's only got ratings of 52 and 56, which is not going to be good enough to win this race. So the career stats do show, look, it's won 3 from 7 and come second in another 3 of those races. So it's obviously a horse that knows how to be in the money at the end of the race and knows how to win. So let's have a bit of a look at the positives. It's weighted 3 kilograms under its last start, which is a good thing to be, but it is still carrying 55 kilos, which is still up in the weights for the Melbourne Cup. It has been first in a Group 2 and first in a Group 3. It is a last start winner. Obviously, it's very good at winning with its 3 wins from 7 races. Now, it is still fairly young, so this does knock it out of Neil's system, with it being only a 3-year-old gelding. As I said, it's carrying 55 kilos, which may be a bit much for a young horse in this distance and field, but we will see. And it is the favourite at $3.80, which I think is significantly under the odds. You'd probably want more around $7 to $8 would be what I would be looking for as a good price for this horse. And obviously when it's winning so much, it is a last up favourite at $3.50, which isn't surprising. Now it's facing a lot of good horses in this race, and it's going to have a lot of competition. As a 3-year-old, it may struggle, so it probably needs a bit more race experience, and I wouldn't want to be backing it at those odds given those ratings. Now continuing on, Jewess is our next selection and has a price of $21, which fits it into that area of where it's a contender that the public thinks can win this race. Now its ratings do suggest that with 56 and 59. 59 is definitely a rating that could win this race. And with 7 wins from 23 starts, that's a fairly good record for this horse. Now, it has got experience in large fields, which will help it in this race. It has won 3 Group 1s, which is a very good sign that it's a winner in these highly competitive races. And its last start was only 2.5 lengths behind the winner, even though its odds were greater than $16. So it is a 5-year-old, but the thing against it is a mare. And as we said earlier, mares struggle in these types of races unless they are absolute legends. Now, it is carrying 55.5 kilos, which again may be a little bit too much for it, but is priced at $21, which fits right into the sweet spot on where horses tend to win the Melbourne Cup. It's $21 or lower. Emissary is the next horse, which is one that I really like, given its ratings are up in the 60s. We have ratings there of 62 and 61. Now, it's $21 as well, and based on what I've seen, it has a lot of positives going for it in this race. So it's got 4 wins from 15 starts. It is weighted under its last start by 4.5 kilos, which is great. It has been running in large fields, so it's got that experience and is winning in those large fields. It has won a Group 3 race. It is a last start winner, so it's obviously in form. As I said, 4 wins from 15 starts is a very good record, and it is a 5-year-old gelding, so again in that sweet spot of age and type of horse that we want to see running in the Melbourne Cup. Now, weighted at only 51.5 kilos puts it right down the bottom in the weights, which is going to help it on the soft and heavy ground. And priced at 21 says it's in the market and it has a good chance. So this is a horse that I really like, and it will be interesting to see how it runs. Gold Trip is $13, which puts it very high in the selections, but its ratings are sitting around 55 to 58, so it is a winning chance there with 58. The thing that worries me is it only has 1 win from 15 starts. And that is fairly poor. Even though it may be racing in really good fields, it just doesn't know how to find the line and win when it counts. So it is weighted under its last start by 1.5 kilos. It does have experience in some large fields, and it is a Group 2 winner with that one win that it had. Now, its last run was within 3 lengths of the winner, and as we said, 1 win, 7 placings from 15 group races is not a great record, but it's still a competitive record. It's a 5-year-old horse, and interestingly, the market has priced it at $13, which is probably a little short. You'd probably want this one to be up around the $20 as well. And last start, it was priced at $13 as well. It's got a chance, but it's one of those horses that's probably going to run top 5, but not win. Grand Promenade at $51 is the next horse, and interestingly, it's got ratings of 58 and 56. Now, its career stats are 8 from 24 races, so 8 wins, 24 races, which is a fairly good strike rate, so it knows how to win. It's weighted 3 kilograms under last start. It's got experience in large fields. It's a Group 3 winner. It's a 6-year-old gelding, so in that sweet spot as well. And its weight at 53 kilos, which again is getting down in the weights. So it's going to run well in the soft and heavy ground if that's the ground that we find. Now, the other positive for it is that the market does like it in races in previous, so the last start odds were $10. It's got a chance. $51 is good odds around this horse. It has run previously in a Melbourne Cup, and that is a bit of a negative. So horses that have run previously in a Melbourne Cup and not performed, when I say that, not in the top 4, they tend to not win when they race it again. So we'll see how that goes, but it's likely not a winning chance, but it may run in the multis. High Emotion is $51. Now it's got ratings of 57 and 57, which puts it as a contender that may get up there if it runs a PB. And it has won 7 from 22 races, which is a very good win percentage. Now, it is weighted 4.5 kilos under last start, and it is a Group 3 winner. It's a last start winner as well, but again, it's a mare. So while it is 6-year-old, which does go for it, being a mare puts a bit of a negative on it. It is weighted at only 50 kilograms, so at the bottom of the weights. So it will run fairly light compared to the other horses and should have a good chance on any soft or heavy ground. And it is a last start favourite winner at $2.30. So $51 for this horse is not bad odds given its win percentage, its ratings, and the weight that it's at. The only negative there is really that it is a mare. It's fairly good at 51. Huya Mal is $21. Now, its ratings are not going to get it to win. It's 52 and 56. So the first one being the current form, so it's not really in current form, and it's only got 2 wins from its 9 starts, so not great to see either. Now, it is weighted 5 kilograms under last start and is a Group 3 winner. It's got 1 win and 3 placings from 5 group races, so it is competing okay in the group races, and is a 3-year-old colt, which puts it a little young, but it knocks it out of the systems that we saw earlier. Now, it's only carrying 53.5 kilograms, which is down in the weights, again, good for soft and heavy, and is priced at $21, which means the public thinks it has a chance. Now, its last start odds are only $8.50, so the public likes it in most of the races it runs in, given it's been competitive in group races. I think the ratings are too low, especially for that price. It's not one that I will be following. Interpretation is $34, and it has some good ratings there of 58 and 57. Now, the thing that worries me around Interpretation is that it's got 3 wins from 10 starts, but only 1 placing on top of that. So it tends to either win or not perform. Now, it is weighted competitively at 50 kilograms, which is the lowest in the field, and that is 5.5 kilos under its last start, and it has got experience in those large fields. As I said, 3 wins from 10 starts is a nice win rate, but I'd like to see some placings happening on top of that as well. As the lowest weight, it definitely has a chance on the soft and heavy ground, and as a 4-year-old horse, it's going to have a interesting run, I think, against the rest of this field. The last start odds were $6.50, so the public does like to follow this horse. Do I think it will win at $34? I'd probably want this one up a little bit higher, trying to get up around those $50, $51 to $60 mark. And at those odds, it's probably not too bad a selection, but at 34, it's probably either just on or under the odds for me. Knight's Order is $21, so the market obviously likes this horse, and its ratings are 57 and 58, which suggests it will be competitive in this race. Now, I love the 9 from 30 career wins, so that is quite good, and it has some placings in there to back it up when it is not winning. Now, its last run was 3rd in a very large field, and it's been 1st in both Group 1s and Group 2s. Its last start was only 1 length behind the winner, and it's a 7-year-old gelding, so starting to get up in age, but still fits within that winning criteria. Priced at $21, it's obviously in the market. People think it's got a chance, and weighted at 55.5 kilos might just be too much for it to win this race over this distance. Now, last start odds were $16, which means while it was liked by the market to a degree, it still wasn't up in the favourites, so the market still has some reservations around it. Knight's Order is an interesting one. It definitely has a chance. $21 is probably good price for it, but I wouldn't want to be taking it any shorter. Lunar Flare is $17, so the market really likes Lunar Flare, and I do like Lunar Flare as well, apart from the big negative of it being a mare. If a mare is going to win this race, I think it will be Lunar Flare. Its ratings are running at 58 and 58, which is definitely a winning rating, and it has 8 wins from 33 starts. So it is weighted 3.5 kilos under its last start, but that weight is 51.5 kilos, which is down in the weights and is going to give it an edge on this soft or heavy ground at Flemington. It has run well in large fields, and it has won 2 Group 2 races and Group 3 races. It's got 3 wins and 7 placings out of the 12 group races that it's been in, so that's very competitive. As I said, it's 7 years old, so starting to get a little bit older, and being a mare is a big negative on this horse. Now, it is priced at 17, so the market does like this horse, and in its last race, it was priced at $9, which means the public does follow this horse and thinks it is in form and can win. It's one of my top picks, the main issue being that it's a mare. $17 is probably good odds, and I wouldn't want to take less than that, but at those odds, you definitely are going to have a good chance. Numerian is at $51, and it's got some good ratings there of 58 and 57 given its price. Now, the negative about this horse is it only has those 5 wins from the 30 starts. Now, it fits in that under 6 win range, and perhaps this is its distance that it needs to go for, but not being able to win at a very high percentage kind of puts a bit of a negative on the horse. Now, it does run well in large fields, and it has won 2 Group 2 races. Now, it is a 6-year-old gelding, putting it right in that sweet spot for the statistics, and it is weighted at 55.5 kilos, so that is a fairly high weight given this race compared to some of the other competitors, and may struggle over the distance carrying that weight. It's only was 1.2 lengths behind the winner last start, so it's obviously in form and knows how to be close at the finish. And its last start odds were $12, which means the public still thinks it is in form and is a horse to follow. $51 for this horse, it's probably about right. It may be a bit of value, but you wouldn't want to see any more negatives around this horse, otherwise you'd want a much larger price. The big negative being, can it find the line in a big race? We'll see. Montefilia is rated by the public as one of the main chances at $11, and I can see why with ratings of 57 and 61. So it really is a good chance in this race. Now, 6 from 22 is very good, so 6 wins is putting it at that maximum for the criteria that I had before. So let's have a bit of a look at the positives. It's been 4th in a large field in its last start, so it's got that experience. It knows how to get to the front of those large fields and be competitive. It has had 4 Group 1 wins, so out of those 6 wins, 4 of them have been Group 1, which is the highest competitive race that we can have. So it knows how to win those big races. The last start, it was close. So while it ran 4th, it was only 1.1 lengths behind that winner. And again, here comes the big negative, it's a mare. So is this a year that the mare is going to win it again? It's a 5-year-old. which puts it at a good age. Now it is carrying 55.5 kilos, which may be a bit for it to carry over that distance given the ground. Again, could be soft or heavy. And it is priced at 11, which means the market really likes this horse. Now, it's definitely a good chance. I won't say anything about that, but at $11 and being a mare, I'd probably want a bit more. So maybe 15, 20. That's where you're going to start to see some value in this horse. It's definitely got a chance though. It could win. It's the other mare that I do like, and it's great if you're just in a tipping comp as a selection, but putting money on it at 11, it's probably a little bit short still. Point Nepean is $71, and even though it has 4 wins from 9 starts, this horse is unlikely to figure at the end. It probably won't make the top 10. The ratings are 51 to 57, so it's currently not in form with a rating of 51. Now, it is weighted at 4 kilograms under last start, and at 51 kilos only, it's going to give it a bit of a plus. It does have experience in large fields, and 4 wins from 9 starts is a very good winning percentage, but at what level were those wins? They were not at that group level. So as a 4-year-old horse, yes, it's got a good chance, but I don't see this one being there. $71 is too short for it. You want to be getting up around the $200. I don't even see this horse being in top 10. So while its last start odds were $8, you've really got to have a look at the types of races this horse has been winning in, and I don't think it'll be competitive in this race. Velma Flowers, interesting, is horse number 24 and is priced at $15. Its ratings are good, 59 and 58, and it has 5 wins from those 23 starts, one of those being a Group 3 winner. Now, it is weighted 1 kilogram under last start, so it is generally running at lower weights. It does have experience in those large fields. And look, 5 wins and 7 placings from 23 starts is a good record. It is a mare, so that is a big negative, and it is 6-year-old, which is a good age range. Priced at $15 is probably a little low for where I'd like to see this horse, even though it has that weight of 50 kilos, which will give it an advantage on that soft or heavy ground. Yes, it was only 0.1 lengths behind the winner last start, which shows it is in form, but is it going to be competitive in this race? I'm not so sure. $15, it's probably about right. Maybe might want a little bit more, $20, $25. I'd probably say $25 about this horse. It's going to be up there. It's going to have a chance. Again, is this the year of the mares, given so many of them are priced competitively and have such good form going into this race? We will see. Serpentine is $51. Now, its ratings are coming in at 55 and 57. Now, its career stats are appalling, 2 wins from 14 races and only 1 other placing. Now, it is weighted 1.5 kilograms less than last start, and one of those wins is a Group 1 win. 5-year-old gelding, that's a positive for it. It has 1 win in 6 starts at Group 1 level, so you have to think it's obviously got up to the group level and is finding its form, even though it has bad career stats. Weighted at 53.5 kilos, it's down in the weights. It's got a chance given that weight, and was only 1 length behind the winner last start. And the public's obviously following it with the last start odds being $10. $51 for this horse. It's probably about right. It's probably got about that 2% chance of winning. Anything up around 100 plus, you're probably getting a very small amount of value. Smokin' Romans, $21. Now, this horse has got some excellent ratings at 62 and 62 and some very good career stats at 9 wins from 24 starts, also being a Group 1 and a Group 3 winner. So it has experience in those large fields and is a 6-year-old gelding. The other positive to it is it's only weighted at 51.5 kilograms, which again will help in the slow, heavy tracks. It's priced at $21. Now, that puts it in the market as competitive based on the public's reading of the race, and looking at its last start, it was only 2.3 lengths behind the winner, meaning it's in form. Now, it was a last start favourite that did get beaten. Some people like to follow last start favourites that have been beaten. It's a good chance. It's one that I like. It's definitely going to be in my top 4 or 5 horses. I think it'll be somewhere in the top 10 in the race. It'll just be interesting to see where it lands. $21, I would say, is okay odds to be taking about this horse. Stockman, now priced at $26. He's got some interesting ratings here at 61 and 59. They're up there. They're winnable ratings. His career stats are 8 wins from 36 races with another 10 placings, so knows how to be in the finish. He's got experience in those large fields. He's weighted 5.5 kilos under last start, which is a massive drop in weight. He's won a Group 3. Again, is a 6-year-old gelding, so in that sweet spot again for the statistics on who wins the Melbourne Cup, and was within 2.7 lengths of the winner last race. Now, weighted at 54 kilos, it's light, but it's not as light as you would probably want to see on him. But look, 54 kilos is going to be in the lower half of the weights and should help him. Last start odds of $12 means the public are following him. He's in form. He's obviously got a chance. $26, yep, I can't complain with those odds. Would I take him at 26? Maybe. It's around the right odds. If you can get higher, if you got 51, you're doing great. But 26, it's about right. Tralee Rose at 101. Now, I can say without a doubt, this horse will not win. Its ratings are too low at 52 and 54. It does have some interesting career stats where it's won 6 of 19 races, and one of those was a Group 3 winner. But let's look at the positives first. It does have the 6 wins. It's got experience in large fields and is a Group 3 winner. It's a 6-year-old and it's only carrying 51.5 kilos. So they're the positives, but now let's look at a few of the negatives. It's a mare. It's run in the Melbourne Cup previously and it did not perform well. So horses which have not performed well generally do not perform when they compete again in that same race. I think this race is way too hard for it to win at those rating levels, and I don't think it can run a rating that will win this race. Being a mare, it really doesn't have a chance. If you were to lay a horse in this race, this is the horse that will definitely not be in the top 10. Now in Declar, $17. It's got ratings of 57 and 57, which makes it competitive. It could run a PB and essentially win the race. At 4 wins from 27 starts, that's a bit low. So that's a bit of a negative on this horse, but it is weighted half a kilo under its last start, and that weight is 54 kilos. So it's in the lower half of the weights. It gives it a little bit of an advantage, but I don't think it's enough to get this horse to win. Last start it was 6 of 18, so it's been in those big fields and been up in the first few, but just not winning. It is a Group 1 and Group 3 winner, so out of those 4 wins, we do have 2 group wins. And yes, it was within 2 lengths of the winner last start, but is that going to be good enough for it to win in this race? I'm not so sure. 7-year-old gelding, the age is getting there, but still okay. And look, it's priced at $17, which means people think it definitely has a chance. 17 is probably a little bit low for what I would want. This horse is probably more about a $30 chance. And if you can get up in the 30s or higher, you're going to be getting some value. One of the short end favourites in the market is Without a Fight at $11. So $11 is an interesting price for this horse, given its ratings of 56 and 57. Now, you can forgive those slightly lower ratings, given it has 7 wins from 17 starts and another 7 placings. The big positive on this horse and why it is $11, it is weighted 7 kilograms under its last start. It has won Group 3s before, and it did run second last start, but it was 2.3 lengths behind the winner. A 5-year-old gelding is good. 55.5 kilos is probably a little bit too much weight for it to carry over this distance in this race. I think it will probably struggle if the ground is soft or heavy. It is a last start favourite that, again, got beaten. Some people like to follow those. Priced at 11, the market really likes this horse. Now, yes, it's a good horse. It knows how to win in a big race. $11 is too short on this horse. Again, I'm thinking this horse is probably more $26 to $30, so it's definitely unders. It's definitely got a winning chance, but at $11, it's a bit too short for me. Young Werther at $26 has the ratings to win this at 58 and 61. Now, the big negative again, it doesn't know how to win. It only has 1 win from 14 starts. So the positives, it is weighted 5 kilograms under its last start and has the experience in those large fields. It's a 5-year-old gelding. That 1 win from 14 starts suggests it's a horse that just likes to run behind the winner and doesn't know how to get out and win when it counts. It is only carrying 54 kilograms, which, being 5 kilograms under its last start, is going to be an advantage. $26, look, it's probably about right, given the ratings that it's been running, but I don't think it's going to win. Now, most people have probably just jumped straight to this page to see what is the ratings and the scores and whether these horses can win in a quick summary, and I get it, that's what I would probably do too. So if you want to go back and hear about any of the really good chances in this race, just flick back and see those horses. But let's have a look here. So I've got the horse alphabetically sorted. I've given him the score based on the first system that we went through. You're generally looking for at least a score of 7 in that based on previous years. Horses over the last few years have won with 6 or lower, but historically it's generally a score of 7 or better. Neil's system here, which has tipped 11 of the 14, I just have a yes or no to let you know if it is in that list. And I've got the 2 ratings there, so you can see them all at a glance on that one page for about half the field, and I'll have another page with the next half. Now, I've given you my thoughts in that last column. So should you include it? Now, when I say include, do I think it's got a possible winning chance? Will it run a placing? If I say it's possible, then there's a chance it can win the race. And if you can get some good odds around those horses, great. You should be on them. There's not going to be much value if the odds are short, but they're still short for a reason. So even though I may not like Divial Legend as a yes to include as one of my top chances, it's still got a possible chance. At $3.80, the market loves him. He's obviously got a very good chance in the race, but at those odds, I definitely don't want to be betting him. So if I say can ignore, I don't think that horse is going to even run top 10. So let's have a bit of a look at this first page and what I've included in here. So the two horses off this page are obviously Emissary and Lunar Flare. Now, both have fairly good ratings, both have scored well on the scores, and both are included in Neil's system. So there's a lot of positives going for these two horses, and I think that they are very good chances of winning. Now, I've included a few others there in the possible column. You can read through all of those to see which ones I would be including in any multis, and I wouldn't leave them out if I was trying to find the winner. And then I've got the can ignores. So these are the ones that you pretty much can lay at the prices that they are, and you're probably going to get a bit of value at those prices laying them on Betfair or a betting exchange. So let's have a look at the second half of the field now. Second half, again, there's a couple of horses in here that I really like, those being Montefilia and Smokin' Romans. They've scored fairly good in the ratings. Montefilia is in Neil's system. Now, interesting, Smokin' Romans is not. But given he's 62 and 62 and scoring high in the forum score with an 8, I couldn't leave him out and think he definitely has a chance. Now, there's a couple more in here that you can ignore. So Point Nepean and Tralee Rose are two that I just don't think, given their ratings, their scores, not included in Neil's system. These horses are easy lays at the prices. Now, they're probably going to be long odds, but they're probably going to run outside the top 10. And you're going to be fairly safe. Now, saying that, you can still lose. Horses do lose in these big races to long shots, and it's happened in the Melbourne Cup before. Jockeys tend to make mistakes, and as we saw a few years ago, half the field got taken out by one jockey, which allowed a 120 to 1 winner come through because it was not essentially affected by all of the horses getting taken out. So there's always a bit of luck, but the better horses tend to perform. Now, in these races, all the horses are good. They have a chance. They're competitive. They're in this race for a reason, but I will be looking to lay the ones that I have said I can ignore. Now, there's a few more there impossible that you will want to include in your multis. Now, I've summed this all up in another page, so I'll just jump to that now. Who I think will win and lose. So, the ones that I'm going to be backing are Emissary, Lunar Flare, Montefilia, and Smokin' Romans. I think that they've got a chance, even though there's quite a few mares in that list. It's a interesting race this year, and I think maybe it is the time for a mare to win it again. I have a lot of possible chances, so more than half the field there. These are horses that are obviously in the market because they've got good odds, or they've got a good rating, or they've come up in one of the systems. They've got a chance. They're likely to be somewhere competing in the top 10. All of them could get there with a bit of luck or a good ride by a jockey. I wouldn't want to discount any of those. So if you are tipping one of those, good luck. There's definitely, I wouldn't rule them out. Definitely worth a chance. Now, the ignore list. If you're tipping one of these horses on the ignore list, you're probably going to get some great odds, or they're way under the odds that you're currently betting, and I'm going to be laying them. So I'm happy to take your money. I don't think these 6 horses will be running in the top 10. I could be wrong. I'll back it with my money and lay these on the exchange and see what happens. That's probably where most of my money will go on this race, just laying those 6 horses and seeing where I can make a bit of a profit. Look, feel free to check this video out after the races been run, and come back with comments and tell me where I got it wrong and where I got it right. I may completely be misreading the race, but we'll see. And if I do misread it, well, I'll lose the money. But I think I've got a good chance here. Obviously, all punters think they do. I have a fairly good record on the Melbourne Cup, so let's see how we go. I hope you do have a bet on the Melbourne Cup and keep it within the means that you can spend. It's a great race and a great day to have a bet. Enjoy the day, and we'll see how we go. Thanks.